Hey everyone, welcome to the Tellor community call, September 28th. Um, yeah, super exciting week. Lots going on. Should be a nice short call though. Just giving you guys some quick updates and answering your questions. So, first thing, Tellor X is we're hoping to be done with the audit next week. Fingers crossed, the auditor will be done by then, and then we'll kind of button up the last few things on the contracts. So usually we'll make the fixes, send them back, and get the sign off, and we'll be good to go. Deploy on Rinky and start really testing it out. So it's looking really, really good. Tim's been doing a great job with that. And actually next week, our man Tim is going to do a contract walkthrough for everyone. So it's going to be super technical. Obviously, we will be literally walking through Solidity code. But at the same time, I'm sure it will be very sort of digestible, and we'll try and explain it. So there's no stupid questions. So definitely just come and ask us questions about why we did the code certain ways, or even just how it works if something isn't clear. So
Yeah, even if you're not a dev and you only absorb like 10% of the information from that call, I think it's still going to be super valuable. And there's a few of us non-devs that are going to be on the call as well, and so we'll try to ask some questions on your behalf as well.
yeah, I mean, and it's super cool because like you'd be shocked at how many really big projects out there, like nobody but the team that wrote the code has ever walked through their code.
Yeah.
It's a shocking number. So, just the more of you that actually go in there and look at it and ask even just dumb questions, it makes us actually think about why we built it this way and how it should be. And especially it's important now since we can still make changes before we launch it. So yeah. Other than that, Brenda is working on um, kind of like the initial sequence of events that we're going to do once Tellor X launches. So as you guys know, we're sort of moving away from this whole rewards are tied directly in the code to we have to actually mint rewards to the Oracle contract. So how many rewards and for how long are we going to be minting these rewards for? The other thing is the team's salaries and everything. It's kind of this full DAO structure now. So we're going to be initially minting ourselves. We had in the past just gotten the dev share, but the dev share piece is kind of going away. So we actually just have to mint ourselves our salaries. And then we have to mint new treasuries. So how much are we going to mint? What's the interest rate going to be on those? How are we going to kind of play that out? And there's not a right answer to it, but we're just going to be writing it down, and probably over the next few weeks we'll have some things to kind of share with you guys. But if you have thoughts or want to help us work on that, definitely let us know. Other things, the new Telliot implementation for Tellor X is up and running. We'll probably be launching Tellor X on Rinkeby within like 2 weeks. If you want to help test it or be a miner on Rinkeby, reach out to us. We'd love to have you guys on there. It's probably going to be a lot of debugging and hiccups along the way for the first little bit, but it'll be fun. So if you want to get involved that way, even if you're not a coder, you can help us by just telling us what breaks. So let us know. Mike, anything on your guys' end?
I don't think there's really anything to update with Ample. It seems like, well, I guess you could mention how that conversation with one of their main community members went, just in brief. Like we got on a private call with one of their brightest community members that has been the most constructive and strong in his sort of feedback previously when we did our first proposal, and he's been super helpful. And we had a really great one-on-one with him. We think we've won him over. He's certainly now quite an expert on Tellor, which was nice to see. And what we've noticed so far in their community is there hasn't been the type of pushback there was the last time we did this proposal, and I think that's what we were looking for. That's what the founders were looking for as well, and so we're hopeful that within the next week
Yeah,
or so
I
we
think
can
it's
move
just gonna be
on
pushing
to
them to get
yeah,
it moving forward.
yeah,
Um,
try another
but yeah, I
snap.
mean, we got some good feedback from you know talking about what are some of the shortfalls of Teller, and how much it would cost to potentially attack, and where things sort of hit him. And um, it was really good feedback, and we kind of took it to heart. So yeah. And that said, we did give him, Brenda was giving him a hard time because, like, he was comparing us, like, going with a fine tooth comb over everything wrong with Tellor, and then you're like, but you guys use chain link.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's like it's not quite the same, because you could, if you're concerned about Teller's decentralization, it's like, it's good that you're concerned about that. You should be, and you should sort of poke us in the right way. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, what's the saying? Every time you point a finger, there's three pointed right back at you, kind of thing. But anyway, it ended really positively, and we think we have a new community member ourselves, so we'd like to see it. Other than that, we have current events. We're still going on. EthOnline still going on. We're seeing some activity there with the hackers, which is positive. We have ETH Lisbon happening at the end of, well, it's not October yet, but at the end of October. And we just signed up for ETH Portland. It's a newly announced event just within the last couple days.
And you're going to be speaking at that, right, Mike?
Right. You are, maybe me. We're talking, we're deciding.
Trying to push Mike. If you guys want to hear Mike speak, reach
Yes.
out to us and push Mike
Yes.
to go speak.
Yes. If 100 of you request it, then I'll do it.
You guys hear me speak all the time. You need more Mike.
Boring. What else? What else? By the end of this week, website update, we've finalized the copy and the design. We're just doing the final touches on that over the next couple of days, and so by Friday we'll be locked in on the design side, and we'll be able to share that with you guys. And then we're moving on into the build, the coding aspect of the website itself, and it's it's not a simple website. It's actually pretty ambitious and exciting. So we hope to share some visuals with you guys so you can see what it's going to look like and how it's going to function sometime this weekend. So I think that's all I have on the top of my head, unless anybody has anything else. Let's move on to the questions then.
Ooh.
Alrighty. So for the questions, first question is, any update on how us newbies could become reporters? Would there be tutorials?
I'm guessing there will be tutorials. Yes. We'll be kind of walking you guys through it. So
I think the plan is to focus on having this be as user friendly as we can. This is the first time I think we're putting as much effort into sort of designing the Telliot software from the ground up to have a better UX. And our ambition is to make it really user friendly. And part of that's going to be having like the best walkthroughs with video components and text instructions and things like that. So if you're interested in being an early tester of those things, it's really valuable to have somebody walk through the instructions and say, oh, I got stuck here. And so we can sort of optimize it.
yeah. And also with Telliot, so, like it's not going to be, unfortunately, as with a lot of things in crypto, this is new software. Probably right when we launch Tellor X, it's not like we're going to have a suite of tutorials and it's going to be perfectly developed software that's going to not break on you. We're looking for, that's why we call them testers, even on mainnet at the beginning, because you're staking 100 TRB and you risk losing that if the software breaks. So we want to make sure that you guys understand sort of the risk there, and also that early on, like there's probably going to be some hiccups in the software. There always is. Things might freeze. You probably have to be pulling updates on a frequent basis. So if you're okay doing that, we'd love to have you on board. But it's not going to be one of these like smart contract, being an LP in Uniswap where you just sort of stake and are done with it. It's going to be a little bit more involved, especially early on. So.
Yep.
Any updates on partnerships?
Well, I touched on the Ample one. That's moving along.
I think the rye piece, that's like they're looking what, December or something. We were
Mhm.
so that one's just kind of in holding pattern until then. Same with, there's a few other chains that we're talking to, but they're kind of going to be going with us on Tellor X, and then yeah, we're just reaching out to a few other people. So had a call with the Morphware guy who was reaching out in our Discord.
Yep.
Super nice guy. They'll be launching in October, and I think there's some fun stuff we can do with them. So
Yep.
exciting.
Yeah, they seem to really like us, and also we're in a bit of like that sort of pre-Tellor X period. So
Yep.
we're really focusing on that. It's a kind of in a lot of ways, it's a new product, a new offering. So
Have you guys thought of collaborating and social networking with more content creators to bring upon awareness to this Oracle project?
So like we have the bounties thing available, but like it's tough to find good content. Like I mean, I don't know. Like like what are we talking about as far as content? Like NFTs or like articles and podcasts and things like that, because it can get tough. I don't know, Mike, thoughts?
yeah, well, so we Reimagine is one of the largest content creators in crypto. That's like how I would actually define them more than a conference company. They're a media company, and so we partnered with them for the last 3 months, and we have 3 more months with them. So, and they put out a ton of content, and they're growing pretty big. In the past, we have sort of, I wouldn't even call them partnerships, but we had some, uh, like we did interviews, or people did like a sort of walkthrough of what Tellor is, like a Tellor breakdown, and they were like your typical um, crypto YouTubers, that type of thing. Um, and a lot of that dried up once Tellor wasn't no longer the new kid on the block. Um, I guess we weren't as attractive to those content creators, as we were back then. So, you know, and this is also, these content creators aren't sort of like people that we follow. We're not, I don't know, I'm speaking for myself personally, but I think most of us on this team, we're not crypto traders who are constantly following a bunch of the shillers on YouTube. That said, though, if you guys know, and we would like to lean on you guys, because these guys, you're their audience. Our community member is the audience for these guys. If there are people that you really recommend that you think do a good quality job, um, you know, and they do, there's ones that are better than others for sure. Recommend them to us. We put out a Google Doc that is sort of a public Google Doc, and you guys could add some names to that. Um, if you guys add a name of a YouTuber, and if you have contact information for them or an email address, we'd be happy to reach out and just sort of see what they offer, see what kind of content they put out, see if it sort of fits for us. Um, and like Nick said, there's bounties for it. So if you arrange it for us, and it's something that we like kind of want to do, like it fits our sort of our vibe, then yeah, you could get a bounty for it. Um, so yeah, help us out.
Question 4, thoughts on Chainlink and Cardano partnership?
Match made in heaven. Really wish them a long, happy marriage. I don't know. I mean, seriously, like Chainlink. So whenever you actually are a centralized Oracle, basically all you do is you have to write data to some chain. It's really easy to go to other chains, and that's great. At the same time, though, like, if you there isn't anything there. So like Tellor, it's really hard for us to go to other chains that don't have native bridges, because like your miners have to be staked, and if you write something Cardano and you're staked on Ethereum, it doesn't necessarily make sense. Like you're gonna have to bridge back and slash them on Ethereum. It gets really, really difficult. So
And who
yeah,
bridges them back? And
yeah, it just doesn't necessarily make any sense. But no, I actually had a call with C3, Charlie 3. They're Cardano's native oracle is what they call themselves. But their guys trying to build an oracle on Cardano, and they were actually they reached out to me and they were like, you know, we're just looking for advice on how to build our oracle. Would you, you know, be willing to help? And I sat down with them for like probably like an hour, and they just asked good questions about trying to build something decentralized. So, you know, it was like honestly the first project I've had any faith, you know, with regard to Cardano. But yeah, so they're kind of still waiting for Cardano's things to launch. So they're just in a holding pattern, but they're actually trying to build it the right way. So, you know, hopefully even on Cardano, people can try and build it the right way.
But with Tellor X, like it'll be an easier, I don't want to say easy, but it'll make more sense for us in the right situation to deploy on other chains. We're still
Yeah.
going to be like picky and choosy with that, but we will have more opportunity to do things like that with Tellor X.
Cardano is super hard to. It's Haskell.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to hire a Haskell developer.
Some PhDs.
Yeah.
Cool. I think you touched on this already, but it might be good to circle back. Could we possibly get a beta test available to the public before Tellor X launch?
Yeah, we're going to have it on Rinky for 2 weeks to a month. So hop on there and test it out.
Regarding Tellor treasuries, any idea on the APY of the staking? Would it be able to be done through hardware or mobile wallets?
Brenda, what are we thinking so far on the APY? I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're good.
We haven't decided yet, really, right?
We haven't decided really, because it doesn't require a lot. I don't know that it'll be very high, to be honest, but that could always be changed by the DAO in the future. And
Well, I mean, like we're thinking like what, probably like 3 to 5%.
I was thinking 3, but
Yeah, something around there is where we're throwing the numbers out. Just like what are rates currently going for in the crypto space, you know, like for not doing anything, and especially like fixed for this period of time. So we want it to be competitive, but we also know we don't want to overpay, and we don't want to underpay and have nobody jump in them. So especially at the beginning, you know, maybe we'll go a little higher, just to make sure that we can hit our targets. But yeah, it generally should be.
it would be something that we'll have to look at, to be honest, like every quarter, and it might change just because
Yep.
depending
It'll
on
be a public
the,
discussion. That's the best part. Like we'll have our opinions. You guys will have yours.
We're gonna have the Tellor Open Market Committee. We're gonna have meetings every quarter.
And so just so the community is aware, for every next round, like say a round has started, for every next round, the community can, if they want to organize to do so, they can overwrite through voting the interest rate, right?
Yeah, well, anybody can
Yeah.
propose
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
You could propose
Yeah.
it like this quarter, and then like we could propose one and pass one this quarter. You can propose one the next day
Oh,
to
good to
mint
know.
even more, and at 100% interest rate. Like if you
Yeah,
really want
yeah.
to,
Yeah,
you know, we'll just have to decide as a community, like what do we want to do?
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, you don't want, like, it's sort of playing, it's kind of dangerous in a way, and we'll have to see how
Yeah.
voting goes. Like maybe we'll want to add in some sort of limits and controls there, because, you know, like imagine like if Tellor does become really popular and just you have a whole bunch of plebs holding the coins, and they start voting things through, like, you know, imagine if the US Treasury was governed by like we could all just vote to mint ourselves money. It would be, you can sort of imagine that it would be go downhill pretty quickly, or politicians would start to run on it, and you don't want that to happen. But, you know, like
Correct.
right now most of the people, especially partaking in the vote, seem to have the long-term interest of Tellor in mind. So
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll have a plan for like the first year, and then like they said, you guys can propose whatever you guys want.
Cool. Why is the price of TRB not exciting? Is there any hope of getting back to over $100? I unfortunately had to sell 70% of my TRB for $55. Squinty-eyed emoji face.
Sorry to hear that squinty-eyed emoji face. I think, yeah, I mean, talking price talk is always hard. We've, like I remember we've had a lot of pullbacks that are really bad. So I never like to say it's the end, because like I remember initially we had, like, it was December of 2019, we hit $8, and man, were we excited. It was like our first run of like 2000%, and we got up to $8, and then we crashed all the way down to like I think like $1 or something, maybe an under, and it was like, a month or two later we were at $1, and then we slowly started going back up, and of course we hit like $80 or $89 for 1 second in August of 2020, and then we dropped all the way back down to like 10 or something, and it hurts every time. It's a roller coaster. And then we didn't surpass that August high of $89 until the following year. We had only beaten it a while, so there's just these really big peaks in Tellor, but like we're doing relatively well. The fact that we've held even around 40 for so long, it's we're holding higher and higher amounts each time. You just have peaks that go, so we'll probably, the next peak will hit and we'll shoot up to $300, and then we'll be back down and float around 80 for a year. And then everyone will be like, why the hell did I buy it $300? And it'll be like, hey, it's rough. So
Yeah.
You just never know, but at a very minimum, you guys should know that we're all working really hard and trying to make the protocol a long-term thing. So, price in cryptos are prices in crypto. So wild.
All right. Last question is, when will Tellor X come out?
Yeah, I think it's hopefully probably early November is the time frame that we're looking at. So early November, but we're going to keep you guys up to date. Obviously, if any big issues come up in the audit or something comes up in testing, it might take a little bit longer, but that's the current target date. So
Yeah,
really
probably in 2 weeks we'll be able to adjust that if necessary.
Once the audit is done, we can give you guys a better idea as to where we're going to be at. So
cool. That's it.
Cool. Super exciting. Yeah, reach out to us if you guys need anything. Should be just another fun week, and we're really looking forward to kind of continuing. It seems like every week we have more and more people in the Discord and people engaging and different people, which is always exciting. So thanks everyone, and talk to you next week.
All right.
yes.